Aloha, how's it everybody? Just want to put a quick announcement out there about a new ebook that I am putting out. It'll be available starting December 16th, but it's available for pre-order right now. It's called Single String Songbook, and it's full of 20 melodies that are played along a single string on the ukulele, similar to my step-by-step single string picking guidebook. That book is like more instruction and how to do it. And the songbook is just a collection of sheet music, tab, standard notation, chords, lyrics, all together so that you have a repertoire of songs that you can play in this style to practice your picking. If you haven't heard of single string picking before, it's exactly like it sounds. You play along only one of the strings of the ukulele and you play the entire melody, usually inside of an octave. I have found for my arrangements melodies that fit within one octave. And by playing linear like this, you don't have to think about what your picking hand is doing. Your picking hand is going to strike the same string in the same way whenever you need to make a note. You don't have to think about transitioning between strings, which is usually the most difficult part of picking. And so by doing this, you simplify the act of picking, you make it a lot more accessible, and it's easier to see because you're just going up or down on the single string and just making sure you're targeting the right notes. And so it teaches you how to move laterally, it teaches you which fingers to lead with, those kinds of things. So in the songbook, there's 20 songs, but if you pre-order, you get 3 additional melodies. So the pre-order extended edition version of the book contains 23 songs. These are standards, traditional pieces, Americana. There's some like nursery rhyme kinds of things. There's some spiritual songs. There's a Hawaiian song. There are some like traditional English folk songs. And a number of them you will know from more popular artists who have played these songs and brought them to the masses. The idea is that if you're going to be playing a melody that is easy, you might as well go the extra mile and play a melody that is also familiar to you so that you also have that bit of ease helping you out. So when you really know a song inside your head and you can just, hear it in your mind's ear, how it's supposed to go, when you play it, and maybe if you play a wrong note or something, you immediately know and you can search for the correction that you need to make. Whereas if you learn a new song that you haven't really heard that much, it's going to be a lot harder to self-critique and harder to feel confident in knowing that what you're playing is actually correct. So I tried to choose songs that were kind of part of the collective repertoire that most people are exposed to over the course of their lives. There's stuff like Itsy Bitsy Spider, but then there's also things like The Water is Wide, that is an old Scottish song that James Taylor did on his New Moonshine album. Things that, we've heard here and there, and also a little bit more interesting songs that still remain in that public domain and are still, old. And that's not to say that boring songs are good, but I think that it's important for people to take a step back and realize that knowing a song so well, understanding it, knowing exactly how it should sound, really helps more than you might expect when you go to learn it. Because if you're always guessing, you can't stand behind it with that confidence. So if you eliminate that, you play a song that you're really familiar with, and then on top of that, you play it in a way that technically makes it easier along one string, it's kind of a recipe for success. Especially if you're a beginner player, you haven't done much picking before, this is a really nice way to get started. And if you're an advanced player, it's kind of a weird way to observe picking and to notice some things and to learn some things about hand movements, notice some things about, interval distances between the notes. It's a great excuse to memorize where those notes are on the fretboard, how to sight read them, maybe because the standard notation is also included in the transcriptions. So yeah, single string songbook. It's going to be available starting December 16th, as in you can download it, but you can pre-order it right now. And if you pre-order, you get those 3 additional songs. If you don't pre-order, You still get 20 songs when you buy the songbook, but you will never have a chance to get those 3 again. They are exclusive. So hopefully you find that interesting. If you do, check it out. I'll put a link in the podcast description. Otherwise, you can go to liveukulele.com/store and it'll be right up top there. And check it out. Single string songbook. And I'm looking forward to seeing you folks at the beginning of next year with a brand new podcast. I'm going to start things off with a bang with an interview with Brittany Paiva. We caught up at the Slack Key and Ukulele Institute at Kahilu Theater last month. This month? Last month. It was last month. And so talk story with her about some fun stuff. You're going to really enjoy it, I think. So tune back in. We'll be back here January 6th on the Live Ukulele podcast. Until then, aloha no and ahui ho.